In a previous audio, I mentioned that I was going to speak more about dealing with the inner child. With dealing with the person who has a damaged inner child, excuse me. I want to talk about some of the side effects and the consequences that you endure as a person involved in this person's life on a constant basis. And these things are so gradual, you don't realize what's going on until months, maybe years later, and you look up and see that your life is totally different in a bad way from what it was before you met this person. Now, first of all, I'm not saying leave the person. If you listen to my previous audios, I mentioned that if things have gotten so bad where you don't even want to go home, don't want to deal with this person, that you need to issue an ultimatum that they go to therapy. People who have a damaged inner child to the point where they can't even maintain their basics, they can't keep a job, their health is failing, they can't get along with other people in the family, your finances is, in the household are affected. Your connections in the household are affected. People you used to deal with before on a regular basis, friends, family members, you don't deal with them anymore because of this person. They're taking your life away from you so they can have you to themselves, because a lot of these people are extremely jealous, and not just jealous of members of the opposite sex that you might potentially be romantic with. They'll be jealous of anyone who's close to you. That includes mother, grandmother, sister, brother, uncle, grandfather. It could be anybody of the opposite, or if you're in a same-sex relationship, anyone else who is outside that has a close relationship with you, especially the ones who have been connected with you before they came along, because in their mind, they want to erase that person from your life. It could be your own child that they will be jealous of, and they will do different things and behave in certain ways to make that child not want to be around you anymore. And these things happen so gradual over a period of time, you don't even realize it. The level of emotional manipulation is on autopilot with these people. There's two things you can guarantee with these type of people that have a damaged inner child. Number one is that they're going to be jealous for some reason or another in their mind. And secondly, they are going to be emotionally manipulative because they have an inner child. They're being ruled by this inner child. Let me give you an example, and maybe some of you can relate. Let's say that you're a businessman. Let's say you run a business. Let's say that you had a cafe that's been in the neighborhood for years. Then you finally decided, you know what, I want to settle down and get married. Or you could have been married before and you took some time being single and decide you want to settle down, and you meet this person who just fits the bill. Picture perfect. In your mind, they basically feed you. They support you. They're there for you all the time. You're listening board, everything else. Willing to do anything for you at any given time. No questions asked. That's a definite way to get somebody on your side right there. But little do you realize this person is using that as an emotional manipulation tactic to get you closer to them. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're not. They're doing it to manipulate you into being into them a little bit more, to give them more adoration, more attention. So over time, you find yourself, you're doing things with this person, you're having a great time and everything else. But you notice that there was a little bit of friction with that brother that you haven't had much problems with before, with that sister you haven't had much problems before. You could have had exes that came through and the brothers and the sisters got along with them fine, but there's one person, all of a sudden, that close cousin you grew up with has an issue with them. They don't communicate with them. They probably have them on block and everything else. But see, you're so caught up in this person's problems, you don't pay attention to the fact that your relative doesn't have anything to do with your partner, and you don't even have time to figure out why. You don't think it's odd? You don't think it's odd that you've been around all your life with this particular relative that's been in your life? Now, mind you, this is your relative, so the blood thing is there. It ain't going nowhere no matter who you get involved with. Because whether this thing works out with this person or not, that person's still going to be your blood regardless. But have you noticed Every time you went through a relationship, whether, success, failure, whatever the case may be, that relative interacted with that person. There was a mutual amount of respect or anything. There's never been a situation with that relative where they refused to even talk to anybody or had a falling out with them or blocked them on their phone. Never had a problem. Cousin JoJo saw you go through a whole lot of women. Cousin JoJo saw you have girlfriends back to back to back, but you bring him around. Cousin JoJo is cool. He's everything else. No problem with him. There's no arguments. No, I ain't speaking to them. Nothing like that. Never had a problem. In 35 years, Cousin JoJo never had a problem with any woman that you brought in your life because Cousin JoJo knew in the back of his mind whether it works out or not, y'all still blood. Let me say that again. Cousin JoJo knew in the back of his mind whether or not your relationship worked out, y'all still blood at the end of the day. And see, some of y'all need to hear this because some of y'all are throwing over perfectly good relatives for someone you've only known for 5 minutes because they cater to your ego, and you need to cancel that shit. And I spoke a little bit about that in a couple of other audios about how you gotta determine who you need to have in your life. Now you need to look at your timeline and look at your relationships and see who you're dealing with. But back to what I'm saying. All of a sudden, this person comes in like a tornado, whirlwind, hurricane, cyclone, monsoon, whatever you want to call it, and you're head over heels in love. And see, they keep you going. They get you caught up. It's a merry-go-round. It's a ride. It's a roller coaster. And it's always something. And see, they're doing it purposefully, emotionally manipulating you, getting you caught up so fast that you can't see anything else. Then all of a sudden, they're dropping little nuggets to you about how Cousin Joe, I noticed so-and-so about Cousin JoJo when they think they got you in the clutches. And then they talk about, well, Cousin JoJo, da-da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, see, you're not dealing with Cousin JoJo anymore. Brainwashing you to think that Cousin JoJo is the problem. And Cousin JoJo is not the problem. All of a sudden, you go to Cousin JoJo talking about, you know what, we need to bridge the gap. We need to find a way to get along. Now, Cousin JoJo's been cussed out on the sly by this woman. Cousin JoJo's been threatened by this woman. Cousin JoJo has been purposefully left out of family gatherings. Cousin JoJo's been treated like shit because this woman is so jealous-hearted. She don't want anybody who's in your life that was close to you to be around. She's dumb as hell. Because what she should have done is she should have got close to Cousin JoJo from the get-go because she knew that JoJo was the closest thing to you. That would have been the best way to do it. I'm going to tell you guys something. If you're going to emotionally manipulate someone, do the research correctly. I wouldn't say do it at all. But if you want to try to get in good with somebody, you want to get in good with the person who's closest to them, not try to cause division. So that tells you right there these people are sick and that they need help because it doesn't make any sense. No, they're going to turn around and try to turn that person against Cousin JoJo. And then they're going to turn around, think in their mind, make them think, oh, well, they're such a nice person. They just have this issue. And it always goes back to the childhood trauma. Here we go again, because they use that as a tool to get what they want. Well, you got to understand, they went through so-and-so, But let me tell you guys something. If you have somebody that's been acting out and causing confusion for a long period of time and you keep using that all the time, somebody is going to go ahead and lose their patience after a while. They're going to lose their patience. It'll happen after a while, but then when you realize, you know what, there are other people that went through the same shit that they went through and they're okay, and I had to deal with this. But see, like I said before, you're so caught up in what this person's presence and what they have done for you and what they have given you. It's all emotional manipulation. And it happens over a period of time, very slowly, very gradually. So I kind of hope this helps you understand what's going on. When you have someone that's been in your life, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, auntie, or whatever it is, and, y'all may not see the eye to eye on certain things, but that's the way it is in families. But overall, when it came to your romantic relationships, you never received any negative attitude and negative friction from anyone. From this person, and all of a sudden you get this other person, and your cousin, sister, brother, whoever it is, don't want to have anything to do with them. You got to think about that shit, man. You got to think about that. This is very unusual behavior coming from an otherwise calm and cool person. But you're going to go to them and address them? No, you got to check what's going on in your own home. So, I hope this helps you out. I really do. Because there are some of you right now that are in situations where, it just takes every ounce of strength of your day just having to endure this person. Some of you are married to them. The level of unpredictability you have to deal with all the time. You don't know what's going to happen when you stick your key in the door when you come home. That's an uneasy way to live.